Happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. This is Disconnect to Connect, one word conversations. I've noticed on a number of shows that I have been letting people know that I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. And I really haven't been telling you what's up on WilliamBrown.com. And WilliamBrown.com is a place for my coaching and speaking and my writing. And so there's a number of things that are available to you, on there that will allow you to stay within the conversation of self discovery and self awareness. So, one thing that I really enjoy and that I do every day before it, in the morning and especially before I start the show is I take one of my U cards. The U cards are cards that will allow you to set intentions or just see how you're showing up today. And so my intentions for today with my I am card, my you are card, and my quote card from my U cards is I am kind, you are enough, and be you, the world will adjust. So, with that intention set and shared, I will look at the word that we're going to look at for today. And our word for today, it's like every time I do that, the word for today, it reminds me of Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers or something. But the word that we're going to look into today is open and just really see how that's landing. So as I do, I invite one of my friends to come in so we can have a conversation.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here with you and to share this conversation and to see where it goes.
Oh, wonderful. So this is the time where I ask my guests to introduce themselves however it feels comfortable.
Ah. Okay. So I'm Christine Callahan-Oke, and that was my reaction because you would think that would be a very easy thing. But
Right.
for me, it's not because I would say over the last year, maybe more, I've really been going through this process of I don't even want to say rediscovery. It's more discovery of who I am now because a
Got it.
lot of what used to resonate no longer does. So, um, what I will say is a constant is that I'm a seeker. That's been my whole life. I'm also a wife and a mom of two boys. And exciting news, I recently finished the first draft of my first book. So, that
Oh,
is great.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Now the editing begins, but I'm very excited. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm a seeker. That's the short word.
Wonderful. So this is a great conversation to have with the seeker, right? So, how does the word open land for you?
When I saw the word, I just immediately well, first was yes, I love that word.
Right.
It to me, it's very expansive, and I try to live my life with an open heart and an open mind, which is wonderful and brings lots of challenges and fears and risks and all of that.
Right.
So, but
All of
to
that.
me, there's just such beauty in openness.
Right. Yeah, I there's a lot of that for me, and I think a couple years ago, it feels like a couple years ago, that I remember on one of my posts on Facebook that I thought I had an open heart and an open mind, but I'm starting to believe that I have a cracked mind and a cracked. So it's like barely I can get something through, and it's like, but the recognition of that, it really lets me know that I can say what I say. Oh yeah, I'm open, but until someone says something, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not open to that. So it's really really cracked, right? And very small crack, but there is that desire for me to really open myself up, and most of the times for me, the world sometimes, many times, occurs to me as a very dangerous place for my emotions, for my heart, for my dreams, for my desires. And so I don't want to leave them open to ridicule or 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 death or any or anything, or just kind of anything. But the only way for me that I'm getting, and maybe you can feel the same way with an open heart, the only way that I have even access to that is just to be open
Yeah.
and just kind of let that go. And it's like that's the joy and the pain of openness.
Yes, definitely. And it's funny you mentioned the crack. If I'm completely honest with myself, that's probably where I'm at too. In my mind, I am open-hearted and I think pretty open-minded, but I also can put walls up
Right,
of protection.
right, right,
And maybe it's from people, or maybe I'm afraid to have people know me too much. And because I
right,
think, how do they not know me? I'm an open book, but really, am
right,
I?
right.
So yes, yes, there are layers of protection I put up too.
Yeah, I also the open book framework is that I that's how I see Facebook in some cases, right?
Mm.
So it is like I've given you access to the pages that I've opened, right?
Uh,
And it's like too often people try to get access to the pages that I have not yet revealed, right? An open book is this is what you see. There's
mm,
still a lot more that you don't see. And I think in some cases the reason why I want to protect my heart or protect my thoughts is because on some level I am still trying to figure them out for myself, right? I'm still trying to, so I don't want anybody to punch holes into something that I'm trying to get awareness of or access to or really kind of work with. And it is that that openness, that willingness to really just just be, and just kind of deal with that. For me, that's how open shows up for me. It's just the more that I'm able to just be, and just like hold on, right?
yeah,
But that's where the joy, and that's where the excitement, and that's where the possibilities, really, you know come alive.
yeah. And there, I find I connect so much more when people are just doing what you're saying, is just being. And I had this little wrestle when you had first invited me to come here, thinking, yeah, but I don't know how I would introduce myself. It's so,
Right.
why would that be a stumbling block? But really, there's so much. We talk about labels. There's so much that we've been caught up in general in society. But well, I've done this, and I am this, and I do that, and and so much of that doesn't resonate with me anymore. I thought, okay, now I'm going to be open and just share that I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
And
Right.
it's a bit scary, but I'm so tired of trying to define myself right now because I don't have the answers, that
Right.
maybe someone else will relate and get it and understand that that's maybe okay. Mm.
No, I totally get that. I've embraced that, I don't know is a great place to start. You're
Mm.
saying as a seeker. Because I don't know, I am curious enough to seek the the answer, to
Mhm.
look for, to find, to discover. And I think too often in our society, I feel I don't know is like a less than thing. Well, why don't you know? Right? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well,
And
I
I
just
want
became
answers.
aware of this, right? Right? So it is like there is, just within the conversation around, listening and being heard, and awareness is that there is a lot of things that I am not open to because I have no awareness of. I have no listening for. And it's like I want to believe that, I'm this compassionate, loving, caring person, but there is so much about life, even my life, that I'm just not aware of. And it's like, even if somebody tells me something, that really doesn't hit my awareness until it kind of gets past my ears and gets to my heart. Then there's a knowing that's like, okay, now I'm awake. Now I'm aware of this. Now what am I going to do? And I think in some cases, what's going on with COVID and different unrest that's happening in our country, it is heightening our awareness and and it's like, what are we open to? What are we really willing to, I don't want to say deal with. I don't know if that's the right word, but maybe that's what it is. Deal with, manage, own, all those things that are challenging when we are open to something. And it's like, all right, now now I have to deal with this, or now I get to choose to deal with this, or like I said, sometimes it's just like, we're close, right? And so I'm just dealing with here.
It can be, I find, really hard to be open to ugly truth
Hmm.
because I don't want to see ugly truth. I always want to know the truth, but then when I'm presented with, I'm like, whoa. Anyway,
Right.
sometimes it feels like too much, and I don't want to believe the ugly truths.
Right.
But yet, eventually, they settle in and land where they need to land. It's just sometimes so jarring. Um,
Right.
for example, with everything going on, I've always been non-racist, and I didn't realize that that was different from anti-racist. And
Right.
I was presented with a bunch of ugly truths that I'm sure I'll be unpacking my whole life. Excuse me, that so much needs to be done, and I can help a little bit in my own ways, even with learning. And
Right.
so that was tough. And then on a sort of sillier personal note, I hadn't looked at my. Have you done the Enneagram?
Yeah, just kind of really quickly, and that's something that I do want to dig deep into, because I think it was like, I can't remember my numbers, but
Yeah.
on the surface they kind of compete. I had like the two numbers, they like compete with each other, and it was like, oh, that's why I'm so damn confused, right? So so it was just like, okay, now I get it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes. Well, I did it, I don't know, maybe a year or more ago. And I thought, I should look at that again because I know there's a lot of wisdom in not just looking at sort of how you're pegged in this whole scheme, but also where you tend to float. If you agree with the whole methodology, where you tend to float when you're not in your best stage,
right.
and where you tend to gravitate towards when you're, sort of top of your game, for lack of a better term, when you're healthy
Right.
and doing really well. And so I
Right.
was reading it, and I was presented with some ugly truths about where I tend to go when I'm presented with things that really disrupt me internally. And so I tend to numb myself either through distractions or extra wine or all of these different
Right.
things and I'm thinking, I don't do that. I don't do that. And then, of course, as I think about it a little while, yeah, I do.
Right.
Yeah, I do.
Right.
Okay, so what do I need to do about this now? So it's hard I find, to be open to some of that, but I need it. I want it. It's just in the
Right.
moment. Wow.
Right. I, I, there's a question that comes up, and let's see, I've been trying to figure out, as you were speaking, if I'm going to ask, or how am I going to ask, and to kind of, because this is a question, because it's a question that I ask myself sometimes when I put descriptors on, when I say, you put a word, you couple words, right? And so you were talking about truth, but you coupled it with ugly truth. And so I am, in order for me to really understand what that means for you and how that shows up for you, I would like to, the question that I have is,
Mhm.
what does ugly mean? What does, why isn't it just the truth that there are truths that you have a hard time facing? What makes it
Mm.
ugly?
If I'm honest, maybe it's that painful truth about myself that I didn't think
Got it.
about or didn't think were possible, or, oh, that's not me. Well, maybe it is. So, yeah, painful, unpleasant, unsavory. I don't know, you know.
Right.
So you're
Right.
right. The truth is the truth. It just is.
Right.
But to me, it's maybe a truth that I wasn't aware of or would more easily turn away from, but I don't want to, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I think, and that's a challenge. I try not to use things like hard conversations and difficult conversations and things like that, and just say, there are some conversations that I want to have, and there's some that I don't, and just kind of just own it that I just don't want to have this. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
why? It's like, not because it's hard, because I just don't want to have it. And just kind of deal with that within myself until I get the courage or get the awareness or whatever, to have those conversations. And so I think for me, when it really looks at opening myself to something new, and that's what disconnect to connect is all about. It is, the more that I'm able or inviting people to disconnect from a way of thinking or a way of being, so they can connect to something new or something that that may work better for them, or give them possibility. And it's like, too often we are so hell bent on just staying connected to something, right?
Mhm.
That the fact that someone is asking us to disconnect, or the thing may be telling us, hey, dude, disconnect. You need to disconnect right now. That it there is a truth. There is possibly an ugly truth within that, why you don't, or you can't disconnect from that. And it's like, the more that we're able to be honest and own it, and just really be open to the reality that, this is really comfortable for me. I get a benefit of, privilege. I get a benefit of, not, acknowledging, something, something in my life, or how other people are living, or how their life is. And that's, I don't see that as a good or bad thing, but that is something that gives us access to more, to and to be open. I said to someone on a call last week, a GLP call, and at when it came up, I just really didn't, I didn't know how I was going to say it, because there's a number of my friends that are recovering alcoholics, or that are in the AA, and everything like that. And I'm fascinated, even though I haven't had that struggle. I really love the sobriety, and how they show up in the world, and with that. And with my understanding of that program and that journey for them, is their ownership that they are an alcoholic. It's like, I am an alcoholic. However, I do, my work, continuous work, to not show up that way, to not be, an active, a participating alcoholic, or something
Yeah.
type of thing. And so I invited, someone to basically say that they're a racist, but they're not a practicing racist.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, if, because I think many of us are, because race is a part of our narrative. Race is a part of our consciousness. And so there are ways that I can use my race to lord over other people, and there are other ways that I can say that because of my race, I am better than, or have more answers, or whatever, how we basically define racism or races. But I understand that that doesn't work for me. That doesn't give me power. That doesn't, thinking that I'm more than someone else because of my race is not, is not power within it. And the more that I embrace the fact, because of the race construct, I can have racist tendencies and I can operate in that. And the more that I embrace that and I'm open to that, the more that I can live beyond that. And that was a very difficult, ask. But it was, I got, some comments that that was very powerful for them. And I just kind of like, okay, where do we go from there? What conversations will come up after that? How how can I acknowledge myself as something that I'm not? Because I say in my labels conversation, I am my labels and I'm not my labels.
Right.
Because I have to acknowledge them, but that's not all that I am. And the more that I'm able to do that, the more I can show up as William, and not all the other labels that I show up as.
Mm. Huge power in all of that. Huge power in all of that. And once we can shine the light on anything, like what you're discussing with racism, and are you racist or you're not racist, once we shine a light on our tendencies, then, and if we're open to seeing what's there when the light is shone, right?
Right, right, absolutely.
If we can be open to that, then we can start to ask, well, why?
Right,
Why do I do this? Or why has this happened in my past? Whatever, all of these things. So then you're right. Then we can grow beyond that, because we see, I don't want this.
right,
I want better. I want, yeah, yeah. There's such power in that in so many different areas of our lives. And I think that the whole, you get, just in general in life, you get comfortable with the devil, and with the blinders, and you're charging through life.
right,
And it's a heck of a lot easier than some open, expansive thing that you don't know what's in front of you. You don't know where to step. But
right. Because what? Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, but there's potential beauty and magic and incredible things ahead, and growth as a person. But you have to, like, it's hard, you have to be open to it if you want to see it.
Right, because we get, because we use analogies, the horse analogy of the blinders, right? That's what keeps the horse focused to win the race, because they're not worried about anything else. However, they don't always live that way,
Yeah.
but that's how we kind of show up in our lives. Okay, I have to be focused. I have to be this. I have to, all this other kind of stuff, instead of like, what? There are some times I need to have my blinders on, and there's other time that I don't. So I need to be open to see my surroundings. I need to be aware of things that are going on. And I think that's why when we hold too tightly to things and our beliefs and our understandings of things, we lose access to potential. And
Mhm.
it's like the answer is like right in our face, right next to us, but because we're not open to it, we're not available to it. It's We don't have access to it. If I have my hand closed tightly, I cannot pick anything up. You know,
Yeah.
I have to open it to open my hand to be
Yeah.
able to get the cup, to get to pick something up, to do that. And it's like, too often I feel like I live my life trying to hold on to my beliefs, hold on to something instead of being open to things so I can have access to things. So I don't know. I just think it's like, I have so many things in my category of simple but not easy. I think everything is there. It's like a junk drawer, right? It's like, oh, there's another thing simple and not easy, right? It's like, so it's like, where is that? That's in the simple, not easy drawer, right?
I got a new name for mine. This is good.
It's so really, and I think it comes, when we look at what's going on in our pandemic, and there's a lot of places that are reopening. I believe in the challenges and the stress around that. I believe it's in our language that is causing the challenge because
Mm.
if we reopen for me, and so just I guess just follow my thinking here. Reopen for me means that it's opening as it was.
Because it's
So I
really,
am
yeah.
right. So it's like, so that's why people have a challenge with that. It is like, well, wait a minute. There's a virus that we have to deal with. We can't reopen, right? But if there is direction of, hey, we are opening. However, this is how we're opening now because of this. Then that's a whole different conversation. But sometimes in our politics and in our language, we just kind of just throw words around, and then we kind of wonder, well, why are you upset? We're reopening, right? It's like, yeah, but no, we need something more. We need something else. There's in some cases, I'm in South Carolina, and I wear my mask when I go out, and it's really kind of, in some cases it's for my protection, but mainly for to give people assurance that, hey, look, I have a level of awareness how healthy I am, but in some cases I don't know. So I'm going to wear this and just kind of. I mean, that's just being honest. It's not because I was told. Because I have that rebellion in me. It's like, you can't tell me I'm going to wear a mask. I wear it because that's what I believe, and that's where I've come to. But there are some people that, when I encounter them, it feels like they act as if we're not dealing with the pandemic. There's anything, it's just like, it's that a level of denial, or they know something I don't know, or, or something. It's just like, what is going on? It's like, it's just really interesting how all of this occurs to people, but you want to be open, you want to be kind of not judge anybody and all that other kind of stuff, but it's like, you do know that there's a pandemic going on still right now, right? It's like, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've had to shake my head many times watching the news, and I remember, I don't know, a few weeks ago, people at beaches and stuff, and like throngs of people, and if you were interviewed, I don't know if it was one of the breaks, and people would be asked, well, they, maybe in their 20s or something. Aren't you concerned? There was no mask, no social distancing, any of that. Aren't you concerned? Nah, nah, it doesn't really hit my age group. Well, who do you live with? Well, my grandparents.
Right. It's like,
Um,
hello.
people, yeah, it's hard not to judge right now when people are taking measures or doing actions that could impact the lives of other people. Like people getting onto buses without masks. This is way earlier on, but it was very, very critical. And then the bus driver dying, right, because of
Right.
exposure to whoever. So
Wow.
anyway, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's, and that is the dilemma or the nice little dance with being open, right? It's like, what that we right, we have to define for ourselves on a personal level what that means,
Yeah.
and how and when that shows up. Open doesn't mean open, right? you know,
We are
you know it.
open. Yeah.
Right. There are closing hours, right? There are closing minutes. There, there are times that, well, you said you were open. Yeah, but now now I'm closed, right? So I mean, it's like it is that balance that I there's a part of my life that I felt that I was doing things to prove a point, to almost prove that, hey, I'm an open person, or I'm a compassionate person, so I'm going to do crazy stuff to prove to people what I was, instead of just being that, instead, and kind of using my mind. It's like, okay, this this moment doesn't call for compassion, right? So that doesn't mean that I'm not compassionate, but I'm not going to give them that right now, and just not try to hold on to things like that. And sometimes in my openness, that, like you said earlier, that there are times that we're close, and for protection. And it's like, at the end of the day, you know you have to love yourself enough to protect yourself.
Mm.
And it's like, it's like, oh, well, that's selfish and all that other kind. No,
Yeah.
that's survival, right? Right. It's like, if I really believe that I am of a benefit to the world, or to my relationships, or anything, I have to protect that. I can't leave that to someone else that may or may not, depending on if they're protecting themselves, or anything. So yeah, so just being okay with, also having a close sign, right?
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I think that's incredibly important. Um, for me, I rely heavily on my gut, my intuition. And so I
Mm,
trust it enough to know, okay, let's stop sharing here or with this person or that situation, or just be extra cautious. And so far, it's served me well, but sometimes it means I can err more on the side of caution than maybe necessary. I don't know.
right,
Um, but
right,
I do trust it. But then it can get scary. So when I go as I'm guided and I'm open to the wisdom that I receive, sometimes it means I'm called to do something that doesn't make sense. So a few
right,
years ago, I was coaching and I didn't know where to take things next. And so I was meditating and I sort of received guidance. Like, what I saw was this blank landscape in front of me in this kind of a vision.
hmm,
Um, and I was guided that I meant to walk forward into the unknown, and that I meant to bring people with me. I'm like, what?
hmm. What?
So, okay, I can walk forward into the unknown, but what do you mean bring people with me? And so I created this online course at the time, or online sort of group thing called the Inner Expedition. And it was the weirdest thing. I loved it, and people were on board, but trying to figure out how to communicate that I'm going on this inner journey. I can't tell you where it's going to lead. Just come
Right.
to, so anyway, I went as I was guided, and it was a beautiful experience together, and so I'm so glad I did. But there are times it doesn't make sense and it's scary, and so um, everyone's got to judge, I guess, if they're comfortable being open
Right.
enough to that sort of thing, to dive in. Like you
Right.
you you started this. I mean, how incredible is that?
Yeah, I love to go as guided. I'm That's going to come up more often, because there's a number of things that I feel that are guiding me, that are calling me to go, and it's like, really? Is that what you want me to do? Right? And
Exactly.
that's what it's like. I would love to see the copywriting of, hey, let's go nowhere. It's like, come on with me, right? Yeah, it's like, where are we going, right? It's like, I don't know, but let's go, right?
Every week will be
And
different.
it's
I have no idea.
right. It'll change your life, and it's like, there is that level of openness that I think our life is calling us to.
Mm.
um, because it's beyond everything that we see. Yes, we can manage what happens on our journey, right? Um, but I think there's a level of openness that our life is just screaming, as you know, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but it just feels like, am I going to, go as guided, or I'm just going to say, yeah, you weren't talking to me on that one. I don't know. That just came from the pit of hell, right? It's like that has nothing to do with me, right? It's like,
Yeah. I don't
it's type la 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 la, right? You're right. It's like, where's the bottle of wine, right? No, I'm sorry. That's and and I think in some cases, and so I guess here's a question that's coming up, because I was going to say it as a statement, and I was like, well, maybe it's a question, is
Mhm.
that the reason why we don't go as guided as often as our life is calling us to is because of our openness to other things, or the distract the other, or is the other things getting in the way of what's guiding us, and kind of understanding that. I don't know if that's, it feels that way for me. It's like there's so many other shiny, practical, logical things that I could be doing or focus on right now than this. Really? That's what we're doing? Right? Type of thing.
Mhm.
And so do you think that's an element of what's keeping us from being truly open?
Definitely for me. And for me, it's often okay. I hear you, and this is great, and I'll do it to the extent I can, but I've got this other stuff that I can't disrupt, or I don't feel
Right.
comfortable throwing to the wind, like family or
Right.
income completely because I need to contribute, whatever. All of the practical stuff of day to day life keeps me grounded in a way that's probably important, but probably also stops me from expanding as much as I would like to in certain ways. I don't know if that
Right.
answers your question.
Yeah, no, I think it totally get it, because people would say, a long time ago, I don't know, I don't know. Sometimes, the 5 years seems like a lifetime. So I don't know if that's what,
Mhm.
what happens when you get in your 50s or something, or around there. But it's like years, like years turn into like dog years or something. I don't know. Like, or something. And I don't know. And I don't have a dog, so I don't even know. But it just feels like what people would say to me, that Bill, you're all over the map, type of thing. And in my mind, it was like, I am, but I am on one map. They're all connected. They're all, this is, thing. And the more that I can figure out what's over here and how do you get there and all that other kind of stuff, I can't just stay in this one area. And I would say that, hey, when I change maps, I'll let you know. But other than that, we're going to be all over this map until I figure it out, until I find a kind of an understanding. And I think really being open to what's being revealed to us in our journey, and what we're willing to look over and become aware of and see, if it's a part of our journey, or if it's just something that we're noticing. And I think that's sometime for me, it's like, you know I see this, so I must see this because I need to use this, or I need to do this. And it's
Mm.
like, no, sometimes you just see things, right? I mean, it's like, so it's that type of thing. How you can be, yeah, for me. So the question is, how can I stay open and not be so distracted, or feel like I'm so distracted at the same time?
That's me. Bing, 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 squirrel. It's
Right, right,
it's yeah, that's the thing. So uh, yeah, I one of my biggest concerns over the years, because so many people around me are so on a singular path, kind of thing, or what appears
Right.
to be a relatively singular, stable, job-wise path or whatever, which I
Right.
respect. One of my concerns over the years has been, oh my goodness, I'm going to seem so flaky. Here, I'm doing this, I'm
Right.
trying that, I'm experiencing
Right.
this. But I
Right.
have now come to love that about myself. I mean, I do make sure I do certain things that are very stable and help on
Right.
that front. But at the same time, I explore what I feel I need to explore. It is very
Right.
important to me, and it's become more important to me than any concerns of seeming flaky, whatever.
Right.
This is my path, this
Yeah.
is my journey, and I like to be open to go where I'm guided or where I'm called. And I don't, yeah, I wouldn't change that. But yes, there is distraction, and I just have to learn to discern what is a, hey, you've got to do this versus, oh, just showing you this, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's why it came up yesterday for me. Embrace the absurdity of your big dreams. I mean, it is really, there are some things that come up in my head that, is calling me. It's like I just laugh and just try to just laugh it away, right? And it's like, no, I'm still here, right? It's like, what are we gonna do, right? And it's just like, okay, and then you tell some friends and they laugh, and it's like, huh, okay. So just embrace that. Embrace the laughter. Embrace all the things that come, but just still live your life. Still go after. Be open to what your life is calling, and what is I don't know if the word is asking of you, but maybe that's in some cases it feels, because it doesn't feel, even in the call, I still feel that I have a choice to answer it.
Mm,
You
yeah.
know, I still have a choice to respond to the ask, you know. It's like too often it's like, a crap, someone has, asked me something, so I gotta do it. And it's like, no, you still have a choice. And I think in some places, going back to the openness of our heart, right? You're open hearted. The more that our heart is open, when there's a calling that comes, it connects to the openness of our heart. And then it's like, yeah, this is what I need to be doing. This is okay, I get it. And then all the distractions for me just go away. They're just distractions. Then they don't need my attention. Then there's no real concern, to them, with love and care. It's,
Mhm.
sometimes people just want to just kind of, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, and in some cases, it's with my name. I have, for over 30 years, I was known as Bill. And and Bill served me well, even though my given name is William. And because from a young age, I felt that William was a grown up name. And I would think after, 40 or 50, I would kind of be a grown up and be able to be William, right? So it's like now I've just embraced the fullness of my name, but I still sometimes refer to myself as Bill, and sometimes many times I allow people who know me as Bill to still call me Bill. And it's not, I don't have to demand them that, hey, we're not doing that Bill thing anymore, all that kind of stuff. That's just crazy. But sometimes that's how we are with the things that we're working on, and the things that we're dealing with. We kind of throw them out with the baby with the bathwater or something like that,
Mhm.
and just kind of, so I can stay focused. But they're all a part of us. The more that we recognize that they're all a part of us, that journey, that desire in thing that we were open to a year ago, caused us to be open to where we are right now. And the more that we embrace those two, we can stay open and stay in our life. And I think that's what really opened for me.
Mm. That's It's beautiful, and you're absolutely right. You wouldn't be here in this now had you not experienced that piece, likely, right?
Right,
So it's part of a
right,
continuum, and we can look back with, love and gratitude and appreciation for what that was, even if it doesn't. resonate now, and even if
Right.
you identify as William now, you're not going to say, well, Bill, you know, but you can look back at all the pieces and see that they got you to here, you know.
Right.
Um, I had this Instagram account, and I'm not crazy active on it, but it was called Fiercely. My username was Fiercely Positive, because I always thought
Mm.
of myself as this really positive person, not Pollyanna. I see both sides, but like my focus tends to go on the positive.
Positive. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But then I wasn't using it anymore. It didn't resonate. I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. So finally, I don't know, maybe a month ago, I changed it to my name. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back. Right.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but it's like that was part of me. I don't quite feel that right now. And so I
Right.
can go with what I am and who I am, and that's me. So I switched it to my name.
Right.
And then it felt more like home again. Right.
Wow. No, that's great. And I think we could talk about some things are opening up for us, and I think we could talk about this for hours. However, I'm sure that there are other things that need our attention for today. Is there any last words or anything that's come up in this conversation that you want to leave us with?
Mm, I think simply to say that I find that even with all the risks that openness can bring, it's
Mm,
just worth it. And I have to have more to grow into it. But anyway, I've
mm.
loved this conversation with you. So thank you.
No, this has been great. I'm going to take an opportunity to put you back in the green room if you can stay there for a moment while I end the show, and then we can say our goodbyes from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow, this is great. What are you open to, and how does open land for you? There's a level of protection, and there's a level of, I think, sanity is the word that come into mind. I don't know if that's the word, or reason to really manage your openness. But really, the more that we're open to our lives and what that means, I think the more that our life is available to us. What is something that you need to open up to? Hmm. That's where this question, that's where this conversation has led me. I hope that this conversation has brought you a level of openness and joy and laughter and freedom to live your life. Because the world wants you, the world needs you, and the world is waiting for you. So go be you. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.